This is my R53 Mini Cooper S, and quite frankly, the brakes are awful. So what I'm doing to fix that is going to rip out the old calipers, rip out the old discs, and now I'm going to install freshly refurbished R56 brake discs and brake calipers. Now you might think, they won't fit because it's different generations, but it's actually a really common upgrade for people to do. Quite frankly, I need all the equipment and upgrades I can use to get the most out of this car. Now, first things first, well now what we need to do is we need to strip this down. So we need to take the carrier apart from the actual caliper. I'll take the brake pads out, take all the rubbers off, and after that, just degrease it. So I'll probably time that's me degreasing and stripping it down. I bought this pair of calipers for 65 quid off eBay, and by the looks of them, they were literally ripped out of the car, put in a box and sent to me. So there's quite a bit of prep work to do before we can rebuild and replace the rubbers and piston. The first thing I did was take the caliper and carrier apart so I could degrease and remove as much of the old brake dust and grime as possible. I then used a wire wheel to get rid of the rust on the larger surfaces with using a drill and a small attachment to get into the tighter areas. The next step was to degrease the calipers and then spray some etch primer onto the caliper. I then painted both calipers with the final coats of colour off camera. Right, so here we are, we're at the bench, got all the bits here. So here's one I made earlier, so it's white. I thought I'd go something a bit different than the usual red calipers that people have. So you've got the brand new R53 to 56 brake lines made by Hell. I think everyone else uses them. So I've got new seals, new pistons, I've got new rubbers. I've cleaned up the brake pad shims, I don't know what to call them, shims guides, whatever you want to call them. So this is all of it in the big red kit I just saw on eBay. So you've got new piston seal, that came with the brake caliper. So that was the 65 quid initially I paid for the calipers when they were old, new to me. New bolt come with the kit, seals. These two are old, just clean them up. I've cleaned these up because they came with it. And new piston as well. That's from the kit. I bought this grease separate because I didn't think this would be enough. There seems to be a decent amount in there, but yeah. Enough. And these did come with pads, but I've bought new ones. They're not performance or anything like that. They're just standard R56 mini pads, but obviously got brand new discs as well. You do need these. You can't run current ones because the calipers won't fit properly. Brand new brake fluid as well. You don't want to use old brake fluid because obviously it's hygroscopic and it absorbs water. So that is everything, and I'll start building the calipers up now. So first things first, we're going to build up the brake carrier. I've cleaned out in the holes as best as I can because obviously there's old grease in there. So these are like the rubber boots you put over them. I'm going to put some grease over these, silicone grease, so they can go in there nicely. I'm not sure which hole they go into. I think there is a specific order. Just gonna squeeze some grease along the length of it. Make sure the boot seals nicely. So that's all in there. That is sorted. So next is this one. Yeah, dust cover. So that's the rubbers done. So next is these. These are like the brake pad guides, shims. So these are the old ones. These came with the carriers. Just press in. So I actually I stopped recording there because my gimbal died. But I did eventually get the piston in, the seal around it, I suppose they call it. So one of the main points I would say about getting the seal in, I'd put the seal into the caliper first, and then put the piston in. It is quite tricky. So you do have to stretch the seal around the piston to get it in. And you have to make sure it's sealed properly. It's in, so it looks pretty good. So what is next to do is to bolt them together. So we use the old bolts for now, because obviously I am going to be installing these tomorrow. That is them bolted together loosely. So the last thing is the brake line. So that just screws, just make sure it's clean in there. Yeah, it is a bit fiddly. Freshly rebuilt R56 mini brake calipers. So all new seals, obviously I've got new brake fluid there. So I'll fit them now. Well, for you it'll be now, for me it'll be tomorrow morning, or when I can be asked tomorrow. So we've just got new brake pads as well, which even though they're brand new, they're already leaving fucking dirty shit on my fingers. I'll see you on the morrow. So I've loosened both bolts, so now it should just come out like that. Okay, cool. I can't just let that hang there because obviously we're replacing the brake line. So next step is to get rid of the carrier. I'm thinking we're going to have to reuse these bolts, so probably give them a little clean up. There we are. So that's the old carrier, and the disc just comes off. So with the brake caliper and disc off, I figured it wouldn't hurt to give the hub a quick clean with some foam degreaser and a wire brush to get rid of any rust and to prevent the new disc from seizing to the hub in the future. So we've got the new brake caliper. Need to put the carrier on for the moment so we can drill the disc in place. So obviously we've got the carrier here. I know I shouldn't be touching the disc while after I've cleaned it anyway. Doesn't that look good? With the normal pads you get one that's got like a little slot for wear sensor. Here I'm applying grease on what some people call the ears of the brake pads to stop them from seizing to the guides so that they can move smoothly. I also put grease on the back of the pads, but that's not necessary. After I slotted the pad with a notch at the top for the wear sensor on the inside of the carrier, I then can loosely bolt up the caliper, making sure that the bolts for the caliper are pushed in. After I pressed in the brake line retainer into the BC coils I installed in my last video. Right, so we've got torque wrench and my spanners so we can disconnect the old brake line. I just know it's going to make an entire mess, so that's going to be fun. And these bolts, they are done to 27 Newton meters. My torque wrench only goes down to 60, so I just have to do it by hand. Cool. The bracket bolt torque settings are 110 Newton meters. Right now I'm swapping the brake lines over from the old lines and caliper to the new hell braided lines. It's actually far more annoying and messy than this time lapse makes it look. Right, so I cut there because I was having a right mare. So brake fluid leaking everywhere. I think this side's done. Dare I say it? So there were some casualties. Paint chip there, some paint chip around the back where the brake line goes into. You can just about see it there. Obviously got brake line plumbed in. Obviously haven't bled anything because I do it at the same time as the other side. Other than that, I think it's okay. Fingers crossed. I think it looks better on camera, that doesn't really laugh, but I'm going to time lapse the other side and hopefully it doesn't go too badly. So I'll see you there. This is exactly the same as the other side. The caliper and carrier came off with relative ease, but the disc was another story. The returning bolt was seized, and as you can see, I resorted to fire pretty quickly, which unsurprisingly didn't work, as these screws are notorious for being a pain to get out. But it didn't help that I didn't have the right size Torx bit, and because of that, I did eventually round the head, so I had to drill the screw out. Once the old disc was off, the new one went straight on before I bolted up the new carrier, placed the new brake pads in, put on the new caliper, and swapped over the brake lines. Right, so that was a bit of a hassle. The brake disc on the passenger side was seized on. Well, the bolt wouldn't come out, so we had to cut a hole in it, well, a slot in it, and yeah, eventually that came out. Hopefully, everything else went fairly smooth, and yeah, even the brake wear sensors in properly. So I'm well happy with that, and I think they look quite good, especially the new brake discs. Shit, wheel just fell over. I think they look quite incredible. I think the white's going to go really well with the stripes as well. The majority of those shots that are in that video, they were filmed in June and July of this year. It's now October. The intro was actually filmed well after I did everything. Now you may have noticed that I have gotten some new shoes. I've always wanted different wheels for this car, but originally I wanted BBS RS844 wheels, which are their original BMW Mini wheels, but they're made by BBS. I think they come on John Cooper Works, I'm not entirely sure. I was looking for months and months and I couldn't find any. So I got these, which they don't look as good, I'll admit. They are MG hairpin wheels, I think they come on like a MG ZR or something like that. But they're the same bolt pattern and they're the same centre ball. So they literally just bolt right up. Another thing I've changed since the last clips, I've put 20mm spacers on the back and 15mm on the front. just to give it a bit more track and a bit more of an aggressive look, just because it's a Mini, it's not exactly the most aggressive car. Now, I've decided I've gone as far as I want to go with this car. I've done a couple bits, obviously wheel spacers, quarter intake, but I've decided I want something with a bit more potential, and that's why I've decided I'm going to sell this, unfortunately. I know I'm going to miss it. I know I'm going to miss that supercharger whine and the handling, and I do love just chucking it about everywhere. But I've decided I want something rear-wheel drive, basically, and I want something a bit more power. I say this has got 160, 170 brake horsepower, and I've just decided that this isn't enough for me anymore. If I could keep it, I would. Although I do love it, and I will miss the R53, I am going to sell it because I need the funds from this to be put into the next car, which I do have very big hopes for. So the next car will be hopefully a lifelong project, but we'll see. And because I'm selling it, this is going to be the last video with it in. I did want to originally do a goodbye video with it, explaining everything I've done to it, but I've decided I'm not going to do that. So on that note, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please like, comment and subscribe, and goodbye.